He's turned out to be really pretty. We knew he would, but every time I see him at a different stage of his life, it's even better.
He's so slinky and sneaky too, and he knows.
I'm not gonna say it.
He knows when he
I'm not gonna say he takes after his daddy. I'm not gonna say it, y'all. I just won't do it. But I will. I will tell you that he's cuter than you. Sorry.
Oh, he's way cuter than me. Goodness, that's the only reason people would talk to me. That's going to take the dog with you.
Now, y'all, is this the way that works? I've heard all my life that men that walk dogs, even if they're not their own, get a lot more, shall we say, encounters with people that they might be interested in having a date with. And I have never approached anybody that was walking a dog and asked him if he wanted to go out.
I've never had that happen. They say it works.
They say it does.
I don't walk him much. I probably should. I know a lot of the people that walk my neighborhood with their dogs because I'll be out, and I have Butterscotch is always eyeballing them.
Yep.
And everybody
checking
knows
out what's
the big
going
orange
on.
cat. Yeah.
Be more like put a saddle on him and ride him through the neighborhood.
He's about that size.
He's getting there.
Small
he's
pony.
Definitely getting there.
I keep comparing him to the female Dottie, and when they were
that's different.
It was like 6 months ago. It was shoulder to shoulder. I mean, he's 2, but he's 6 inches taller than her now.
That's
it's funny.
That's why she asserted herself at the beginning.
Yeah, well, she's a tough one. You don't mess with D.
She has his number, as it were, which is very healthy.
He's
very
madly
healthy.
in love, I think, with her friendship and the fun they have.
I would hope so.
It's like constant, though. It would be like doing this show just by yourself with nobody in there. It was just a iHeartRadio kind of production,
right.
And there would be no human element.
Sitting in a closet talking to yourself.
Right. Well, that's kind of he and Dottie. I don't imagine either of them would be as exciting and have as much fun without the other. They just have so much fun. It's a treat. And when the weather changes like this, it really gets fun because, they're not hot. And they just run and play and goose each other around.
Well, and
it's all the time.
The good news is that everybody talks about how hard it is to introduce a dog after you've got another dog. And in this case, I think Hawk's personality just won all of them.
He's
because
resilient.
I'm not even the greatest one for a puppy with feet bigger than my head, but I thought he was cute from the beginning.
Those feet they're like bricks. If you just took a brick and rolled it down a hill of grass and watched the grass just fly up.
That's him. That's him.
He's got 4 of those.
This brings me to one of the things I wanted to talk about because I haven't done this in a few years at the holiday time. Don't give people animals that they don't expect. Please. In fact, take them with you to pick them out. This is the time when we hear from too many folks in shelters about how difficult it is because somebody, brings the pet to the shelter after they've gone and adopted it somewhere or purchased it someplace for that lovely surprise. Everybody sees, the puppy in the Christmas stocking and thinks it'll be the ideal gift or the kitten in the fruit basket, but it's not unless that person's ready for it. And particularly having been one of those kids that their parents said, you will have to take care of the animal. I can tell you that not everybody takes care of the animal. I was not the best in my early experiences. So be careful. Give somebody give somebody a gift certificate to the shelter or give somebody the whatever it takes to get to that animal rather than the animal itself and let them have a bigger role in it. I just think that's smart. It's almost that way with plants. If you're going to buy somebody a tree, they better want it, okay?
Yeah, exactly.
Because you see these tabletop spruce firs that are supposed to be Christmas trees, and every one of them has something that says you can plant this, in your yard. Well, maybe. Yeah. Maybe keep it in a container, maybe. But know what you're doing. Be smart about it. Larry would like to see Hawk this morning. We might manage to make that happen for the holidays.
I will definitely get that in at some point and give you a heads up.
I bet that could happen.
Yeah, I might let him just run in there with you guys and hang out. He loves.
He can come sit
Peaches
in
was here, I let him come around.
He's fun.
And I wanted to spook Peaches, and Peaches is a pro. Mark.
Cool as a cucumber.
So I came all the way around and let Hawk come in the door over there, and he kind of snuck in, and he went up there and nosed him, and Mark was like, what do I do? What do I do? He just kept on.
Peaches, meanwhile, of course, Peaches got into the chair and put on the headphones and said,
he was on there. He was on there.
Yeah, said, hey, y'all. Let's see now. This person, and I don't have a name, but we will say Barry in Belzona because I don't know. My dogs run free, but when I have my horses out, that seems to work as well. That's true. Yes. LOL.
Yes.
That's a very good one. Well, I don't know why they would do this, y'all, unless we were celebrating, I don't know, Christmas in the Southern Hemisphere, but it's National Ice Cream Day. Now, that doesn't inspire me nearly as much as the fact that it is National Hot Cocoa Day.
You would think if they would have come up with it back like 300 years ago when there was the only time you could make ice cream would have been in the winter, but I don't
that's
think
not how that. That's not how that works.
Somebody about a month ago came up with that one.
Interestingly enough, big controversy today in the food world. Today is National Cream Cheese Frosting Day. People like it or they don't.
That's the best.
See, I
cupcake.
I have people as close to me that they will go, I would like carrot cake if it wasn't for that nasty cream cheese frosting.
I have never heard that.
The invention of cream cheese frosting
thing.
really saved my life, I think. In the terms of it's extended my good-lookingness. I'm much smarter. I run faster.
It's obviously improved your hearing.
Yeah, my hearing.
I mean,
vision. So cream. I give all that to the cream cheese.
I'll give that.
Frosting.
I'll give that. I'll tell you what else today is, my friends, and that is, of course, figuring out what it is you're doing for the holidays. Everybody's doing their countdown thing, and I got to tell you, this is the time to be harvesting that juniper and those berries and bringing them in the house. I watched just such an expedition myself yesterday afternoon. That was kind of fun. The question always is, we've talked already about conditioning those branches, but as we get closer to time, there's more of a tendency to just bring them in and stick them in a vase. So if you're not going to go to the trouble of soaking them overnight or crushing the ends the way I want you to and putting them in warm water with a little Martha Stewart mix or perhaps some floral preservative or some, I don't know, 2 aspirins and a cup of Sprite,
Snoop Dogg recipe,
any of those. Yeah. Don't you think that makes a big difference? But if you're not, is Oasis going to work okay? I mean,
Oasis works
help
great.
Me out. Help me out with this.
It does. And soaking. And a lot of that has to do with, depends on where you're going to have it. People put live greenery on their fireplace and they've got a fire going. Point. Mm-hmm. So you better
everybody
soak
dries
it.
Out.
And and so it becomes a fire hazard after just a few minutes.
You're so right. We hardly hear of that anymore, but it does happen.
It does.
And that. I can still remember when they would soak the cut tree outside in a bucket for 2 days before they brought it in our house when I was a kid. And then they would put it in this tiny little bowl that basically sucked up water 4 times a day. It's like, why isn't there a bigger dish under there or something? But you got to keep that full.
You got to take a leave of absence to keep water in your tree.
Really? What do you think about not just the floral preservative that we talk about all the time, but what about some of those things that are supposed to keep the needles from falling off? Some of those products that are, I think they're just basically plastic, but whatever the spray is, some kind of silica or something.
Yeah. It's like a sealant, actually.
Think that can help?
Does
I think it could
help if you have a real tree and you want to keep it longer with the spray?
I bet it would.
Yeah. If you flock a real Christmas tree, you have a lot less shedding and things
I'll bet
like
that's
that.
true. I've never had one, so
it kind of just holds everybody together.
Interesting.
But everybody's going toward permanent trees these days.
Yes, they are. That was one reason I did find that the clip that you told me about last night that made me laugh just to hear about it.
I know,
of our dear friend James Dale Prince, the amazing. Thank you very much. The head of the floral design world in Mississippi State and frankly in my world altogether. But it's a very funny clip, y'all, and we will post it later on for you, where he's trying to give you the realities. Okay, here's the poinsettia. Here's how to take care of it. It's as we all know, take the foil off, water it only when it needs to be watered, not otherwise. How do you ever tell that anyway? And if it starts dropping its lower leaves, it might need a little fertilizer. If it starts dropping its upper bracts, maybe it's too wet. And he says, compost it and buy another one. It's only the beginning of December. We're really not that far along, and there are millions of them. So please, by all means. Paul the poinsettia at my house is not going to make it into red this year.
Oh, he's not.
He's had too pleasant of an autumn. So
yes.
I didn't do any dark. I didn't do anything that I was supposed to do. But the plant's beautiful, so he'll be around another year.
And there are those people that keep those little babies forever.
Yeah.
But
drives people crazy.
Having been in the production world of poinsettias, it's like, it's temporary.
I'm so romantic about poinsettias. It's terrible. But it was the first bench crop that I grew outside of the University horticulture, and so I have a great affection for the plant. Also, one of the prettiest things in the world is poinsettia trees in Mexico City, driving down the boulevard. It's just a beautiful, beautiful. You can see why they wanted to bring them to all of us.
Right.
When, you see them like that. But there's just something really crazy about what we do to them once they get in our houses. So I have to go with James Dale Prince on this one. Thank you, Jim, for giving us the freedom to compost these suckers.
That was one of the funniest clips.
He's so right. He's so right.
It was great.
Let's see. I can't really see the mold, Ken, on this picture because the picture's kind of dark where the leaves are. But I will tell you this. If you feel like it is a fungicide, slow down on the water. It's a Scheffelaria. You can probably put it in a slightly brighter condition. Yeah. And those two things will help. You won't get rid of that particular piece of fungus, although you can probably wash it off. But wash that leaf so that it doesn't spread, I should say.
Right.
And I don't know what else. There's houseplants will get a little bit of mold in the winter without,
they will. Airflow is really important. When you bring your houseplants in, don't cram them all together. They really don't need to be touching.
No, that's those things that we say, make sure they're in a group so they can make the humidity around each other. That doesn't mean crushed up like they're in a box.
Right. That means, be able to put your hand between each plant.
Exactly. And
a lot of people get a little overzealous and they just cram everything. And that's really not.
Well, and out in the garden, of course, that's how we spread stuff around.
Right.
When we keep things pruned too closely to one another, we end up making surfaces touch each other, and then the next thing you know, you're on to the next problem, which is that the one next to it has the same disease that the one before it had. Now, that doesn't change root rot. If you're let's just give our favorite. Yeah. If boxwood gets root rot, it's going to spread down the row.
Yes.
And if you live long enough, you'll see it kill every one of them.
That's right. One piece at a time.
Slowly and painfully for everybody.
Yeah.
I don't think the same thing happens. There's people that always having to replace things like that. But I really do think that the small leaf hollies that, there's the soft leaf hollies, I think are a really good choice in that. Don't you think? Because they can be pruned all the time if need to.
Down.
Okay.
Hands down. I mean, if you want the look of a boxwood, go on over to the holly section.
Really? And just look at it.
Yeah. Know you're going to have 70% less issues with that holly than if you take home a boxwood.
Yeah.
There's just something like, you were using the word, being super crazy about poinsettias. The word boxwood, I guess because in Europe they're so popular and it's, people want to have a boxwood.
Well, they look so permanent.
They do.
You know what I mean?
When they're healthy.
When they're healthy, they look like they will be there for eternity. But we don't have the same conditions.
We have way too much humidity in our soil.
There's a reason why goldenrod is one of the favorite annuals in the UK. Okay,
exactly.
Because it's not like it is here.
Exactly.
And boxwood is the same way in reverse. Good morning, Paula from Dentville. I hear Paula's at home. She's not. We're sending good vibes, and
happy Saturday, Paula.
Okay, Ken says that the plant, he ordered it from Amazon and it came in pretty wet, so he needs to let it dry out.
Yes,
That's the being closed up in a box even for a few days, and also being wet because they didn't want it to dry out on its way to you. You're going to have to let it dry out. That'll control the problem probably. If another couple of spots pick up, you'll have to end up getting a little fungicide and applying it. But that's all right. It's not a big deal. I have 2 or 3 other things on my mind. One of them is, what else can we decorate? And I say this because somebody sent me a note this week and showed me that they had put twinkly lights on their non-blooming, cactus. I mean, there's still leaves and stuff on them, but there's no flowers, and she was hoping for flowers. So she took the little twinkly lights that are battery operated and put them all over these stems. It looked pretty cute.
Well, yeah.
So what else are we going to decorate? Why not?
Everything. My truck.
Yeah, now your truck is a good example.
Yeah.
People used to point, but now there's so many people that do that it's not quite as bad.
Yeah, it's not quite.
For those of y'all who are in the social media world with us, you don't know this, of course, but we're going to have a knockdown drag out because Mark put up a picture that includes Lance in it. And it's Lance in a hat.
I know.
Even
I had
funnier.
that Santa hat on with the
Very much.
There's a deer.
The reindeer antlers.
and antlers. Yeah. I liked it. It was
It's
good.
deer season.
It's a good
Yeah,
picture.
That's right.
Well, it is.
I didn't break the camera, so
You
I'm
did not. You did not. And we all actually looked like we were having a good time because we were.
We had a great time. I have to
'Cause we
say so
were.
myself. Garden Mama is the ringleader. You know, her moving down to New Orleans has been heartbreaking for Mark and I because
stop that.
You know, Mark and I we don't get to hang out as often as
We don't.
Mark pretends to be busy now. And,
Well,
I'm kidding. He's
here's
always
the best
busy
thing.
to begin
Here's
with.
the best thing. You get a chance only a few times in your life to have people welcome you and to not take you for granted. And so I get a chance for y'all to do that for me. And it is a delight because I miss y'all. I have a lot to do, but I do miss y'all.
Well, but it's the truth, though. We have a lot of fun together. If y'all don't get that on the air, I'm sorry, but we really do.
This is not a bunch. We don't script this. This actually goes on in the real world.
Right.
We dial it back a little bit when we get on the air.
We
just
try
a little
to.
bit.
We try to.
So, and I want to start by saying,
Please.
please notice that I'm wearing gloves. But did you see the photo of the little guy that met me at the door the other night?
No.
Landed on my head,
Oh no.
a bat.
Oh my
I
goodness.
saw your bat, yeah, and you caught it,
Yes.
didn't you?
Well,
There's a little
he bounced off my shoulder, and so I got some gloves on and picked him up and escorted him out of the garage.
Yeah.
But there seems to be one that hangs out in the garage, which is
I
kind
love
of
that.
cool.
That
I know.
Beats the heck out of the raccoon in my garage.
I need to put a bat house up. Is what I need to do.
Well, it's a good thing to think about because it's a great gift.
Yeah.
And if you're one of those folks that wants to attract purple martins, this is the best time in the world to put that on your Christmas list. You know, your grandchildren want to get you something, and they don't. You know, you really don't need another tie. You don't even need more socks. You know? Let's talk about a purple martin house or a bat house because that's something that you not only will enjoy, but they'll enjoy when they come to see you. I've always felt like there's things you can only do if you have time to fool with them. And
Right.
frankly, a bat house is one of them because you do have to keep it cleaned out. The bats will find it. The bats are going to live there, and they're going to eat a lot of mosquitoes. You'll be happy they're there. But you do have to clean up behind them. And the purple martins are the same way. You have to give them a chance. All right, now, we're going to walk out of here. Let's go get us some, okay? This is Green Onions. Stick around. We'll be right back. Yeah. There will be Christmas music, I promise y'all. We're just trying to hold on today. For those of you looking in today at SuperTalk.tv, you're going to see a marvelous, and I do mean marvelous, collection of various and sundry holiday gift plant ideas because I've been collecting these pictures. Most of them are my plants, not all of them are. But for years now, I have thought, as much as I love poinsettias, somebody else needs to love Christmas cactus or another thing. We need to have some other beautiful things, and of course, Queen's Tears is probably my next favorite if I was going to go out and do something really crazy. But listen now, when you are checking it out today, you're going to see a picture of the reddest maple tree leaves that you've probably ever seen. And I'm happy to say that I only had one hand in it, but I did have a hand in it. The one and only Timothy Burris, I've talked about this plant for years. This is how joyful it is. When he was doing a lot of work with Japanese maples, I was able to get an Orangeola cultivar from him. And it has orange color that will just knock your lights out. But when it gets right in the winter, it's red orange. And that plant right now is that. It's one that has made the shift out to Rankin County.
Yes.
And is living at Mark's house. And the picture you're going to see has just enough of their holiday hilarity behind it. It's really very attractive, and obviously a picture from now. It has a sense of place and sense of time to it, and that's just delightful. So I thank Tim every year because that plant's been such a delightful thing.
I'm having a hard time finding it. I know it's in here. I'm looking for it, so I wanted to highlight that for you. But
Okay, he'll send it to you again. Email it to him. It's easier.
Let me get on that.
He'll get on that right now as we do things. Today, my friends, I got to say, I think this is probably there was a lot of fog for us here today. I don't know where you all are, but we were in the pea soup this morning. It was coming. We were coming from three different directions and literally ran smack into gray everywhere. That's when it's time to put the twinkly lights on the truck.
Yes.
on the front, on the wreath. You can barely see the headlights anyway, and I only say that half jokingly. One of the reasons I think that we like to decorate things like trucks and trees and houses, entire buildings, at times, is because we're lighting up the darkness. And on a day that's foggy, particularly in December, we need a lot of light. And this is a good day to work on that. If you haven't already got all of your lights strung up, by all means do that. It's really fun.
It was so thick this morning. I mean, I couldn't even see across the pool.
No.
It was crazy.
I was not able, I couldn't see the corner.
And let's talk about the weather.
Next to it. Talk to me a little bit about what we're going to do. All these people that have poinsettias sitting on their front steps. All these, I saw them all over the place from here to the coast yesterday. There's folks with, there's folks that have, quite frankly, not been feeding the birds.
Yes.
Just thinking, they're okay. It's fall. There's seeds and things everywhere. But there's a lot of things we need to do with this kind of weather that's coming. Help me out.
Well, first of all, you better bring those poinsettias inside.
Please.
Because sometime Monday morning, they're going to look like turnip greens.
Very sad.
And not taste nearly as good. A poinsettia does not need to go below 50 degrees.
No, it's tropical.
Yeah, It does not like that. So
same's true of Christmas cactus. It might can take 45, but it would rather not.
Right.
Especially if it's in bloom.
Some things to think about. If you have not cut like your mainly lantana back to the ground yet, this freeze will probably crack the stem, and it may not come back next year.
What about the Mexican petunias, the purples that are still about waist high or taller? They've been growing great, and I'm starting to see the turning.
Yes.
Is it once they start getting a little less beautiful dark green and turning a little on the tips? Is that the time to start cutting them?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. Just because they will get kind of reedy.
Yeah, they will.
And then they're not pretty,
No.
At the same time that stifles the growth that
Right.
needs to come
That's
next
why I was
year.
at. So this is the time to go down to the what?
Close to the ground.
Close to
That's
the
what I
ground.
normally do, and they really came. But I tilled up a little bit this area, not much, and I'm missing those. But I tell you, this year they really came back. I don't know what I did different. The conditions
There's
were
probably more sun there now.
there was a lot
Yeah.
more sun, and that helped, I think. But so take them down to about the ground.
Yeah.
Okay.
The other question comes with whether to let things like cannas go ahead and brown out, bananas, or whether to go ahead and cut them down. And a fellow garden writer, horticulture person that we all know and admire has invented the word boogalify for what happens to that banana stalk if you don't cut it down and it freezes, which means that the plant material in it basically thaws. And therefore, the casing that it's in, the outside of it, can't hold it up anymore, and it just squishes into a really big mess.
It's terribly messy.
So if you have bananas, you may want to cut them back too.
Yeah, I started removing my stuff weeks ago
Well, yeah.
in anticipation of it.
But you're ahead of the game most of the time.
And, personally, I know I have that hashtag brown as a color too. That brown necessarily doesn't look good.
And sometimes it doesn't.
It can be very messy.
And it is true that you got to keep things neatened up a little bit, so that you're not unhappy when you drive in the evening. That's also very true.
Yes.
But I have rosebuds at the house here. I mean, it's just been a beautiful fall. And now it was cold, and then it wasn't, and then it was, and now it's going to be real cold. But what, a few days?
A couple of days.
Yeah.
That's it. Go inside, do your Christmas baking.
Yeah, that's right. Good advice.
Clean the house plants, run the lizards out.
Very good advice. Wake the lizards up and tell them they need to get out of there. It's also a really good time if you are one of those people like me who just I really wish that I could tell you that I spend the winter reading seed catalogs. I don't. But if you are looking for a particular set of seeds that you think you want to start, maybe January or even February if it's a summer thing, now's the time to be getting a hold of those seeds. There's a bunch of sales out there right now, stocking stuffer kind of deals with the seed companies and whatnot. And this is really the time to pay attention to that. So you might do that over the cold weathers. Take advantage of 24 hours of sitting inside. Give yourself all of that.
You'll be so proud of me.
Ooh, tell me.
My side beds I deemed the drought garden, the one next to the driveway.
Yes.
I kept looking at this. I cleaned up my perennials. I've got it all nice and neat. And I'm like, do I really want to get out there and plant a bunch of annuals in it.
Oh, my goodness. Pansies?
I did not. It is going to be a lettuce garden in about 2 weeks.
Oh, fun. Even better. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
And the neighbors on the other side will love it. Yes.
I'm sure.
They could just come help.
Who doesn't like
themselves.
some salad?
Yeah. Well, hello there.
There's that pretty boy. We're lucky to have guests today. That's really fun.
Yeah.
How sweet. Any rate,
In case you're wondering, Hawk just came in and gave me a nudge.
there's always there's so many things about the winter garden that make people just look the other way sometimes. And sometimes it's as simple as this was a lovely bed full of, I don't know, purple coneflowers and rudbeckias and other things that bloomed in the summertime that are perennial, but they're going to come back. What do we do about that? We've got to cut the stems off. But if it's going to just be bare ground for several months, that's really the place to put bulbs and ground covers that are more or less evergreen, like a juga, because it just keeps it tight. It keeps the look tight, and it also, frankly, is great mulch for the plants that you've got there that are going to come back in the springtime.
Oh, yeah.
So you might want to consider doing some of those things if you haven't. If, like Lance, you've had places you were concerned about erosion and your ryegrass didn't take, his is taken fine from what I understand. But if you are not in such great shape, this is going to be where you're going to see the problem. It's going to get cold. The little bit of grass that's there is going to dry right up, and you're going to be back to mud as soon as it rains again. I hate to tell you that, but that's the process. We build houses. I saw that beautiful sod on those rolls that you were showing off yesterday. That was just gorgeous. Not everybody can do that. Not everybody has got either the wherewithal, or it's a smaller property, or frankly, it's an area that actually just goes directly into the shade, so you're just trying to keep it from being too muddy back there.
Right.
The ryegrass can help, but if it's not, then you do need to think about other solutions.
Yeah. You know, I love a juga. I use it all the time.
I do
And
too.
there's one that's escaping my mind. Pachysandra is a fun
Pachysandra's
one.
a good choice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are beautiful.
I love
But they're
it.
things that have an interesting texture of their own. They're not walkable in the way that some other ground covers are. Although
Right.
you can certainly. I've put many a ladder into a bed of a juga to do something,
yes.
on the house or something.
Yes.
But it's not a plant to put where you know that the traffic is going to walk through. But there are some that you can do that with. If you find that you've got a muddy path between the driveway and the garage, for example, or the driveway and the house, rather, for example, where nobody thought to put stepping stones, and you find, you may want to take advantage of that particular mess and give yourself some stepping stones for Christmas.
And then you get to mazes. I love that plant.
Beautiful plants.
The creeping times.
There's some just gorgeous things.
So many.
And starting them in the winter really does give you a leg up.
Yes.
That's why we plant trees and shrubs in the winter, and that's why we plant anything that we want that has the hardiness to put up with the cold. But if you can get those roots to get going, our ground doesn't freeze in the southeast. People move here and they think, how do y'all garden 12 months out of the year? The ground never freezes. I need a break. Well, we do take a break, but we take it in July.
Right.
We go inside and turn on the air conditioning.
If I had a choice, digging a hole in January or digging a hole in July,
I'm
goodness, definitely going to go for January.
Let's see. Oh, that's lovely. Brenda has a beautiful red chrysanthemum. I do not know its cultivar name, but it's really pretty.
Nice.
It's a nice couple of inches wide. Has a nice red. This should be in everybody's garden at this time of the year. That's beautiful. We'll try and see if we can find out a cultivar name for you. But meanwhile, start propagating it because we want some.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Debbie from Moss Point. Let's see. She's got peach blooming cactus. They're loaded with blooms, but the leaves are not a pretty green. They're a little shriveled. Is it from not enough fertilizer? If they're a little shriveled, it's either a little cold or it's a little dry.
A little dry.
Right? So either one of those. Water from the bottom. Put it in the saucer so you don't get the flowers wet. Water it from the bottom in the saucer. Try that Try that now. You can put a little fertilizer in for the leaves, but not much.
No.
We're looking at the flowers now anyway.
They're not. You're right.
We used to always hear that if you fertilized a plant in bloom, the flowers would fall off. It would knock them, And I think that was because we were using too much fertilizer in the first place.
Right.
Because, yes, a burst of more nitrogen than that plant needs would certainly do that. Certainly would cause those flowers to flip off. just slip right out of there, be gone. So it's just funny. It's how we think about all that stuff.
So talk to me about me self-pollinating my lemon, because I'm going to have to bring him in. Paintbrush?
Yeah. Bring a couple of bees in with you if you can.
I know.
They'll do some work. They'll do some of the work.
It is unbelievable.
The winter bloom is oftentimes difficult to imagine because we don't think about. I mean, there are bees out here. The bees right now are probably getting ready for taking a couple of days off.
Right.
But there are bees, and they're still trying to find something to eat. And in the case of your lemon, the flowers are perfect for it. But it is one of the things that is, even if you have the greenhouse and you got the lemon in the greenhouse, you still have to open a vent just a little bit, because sometimes it's the wind, sometimes it's the insect, and sometimes it is you with a paintbrush that gets out there and moves that pollen around. But if you can do all three of them, then you've got a better chance of getting more lemons.
Well, I'm determined to have lemons because, I've always been that person that a lemon was more like a pet. Well, then I stepped into the lemon world, and now, I'm determined.
Oh, we're going to bring you over to the dwarf lime plant that goes on your table and makes more fruit than you could imagine. It's crazy. David's in Oak Grove this morning in Simpson County. Several broccoli plants that are still growing, but the crown is small. Will they make it through the cold weather coming, or should I pick them small? I'd either pick them or cover them up. Or maybe half of half. If you have 20 plants, I might pick half and cover up half. Because there is still time for it to get to be larger when the weather evens back out, but it's going to be a knock on them. So I would enjoy some of it. I'm sure if you went somewhere, you went to a fancy market and you got tiny broccoli, somebody would have paid a whole lot of money for them,
right?
Because that's a fancy thing. So certainly they would be enjoyable. And of course, most broccolis will go ahead and put out some more side stems or grow the crown back, but in pieces. It looks almost like Rob or something. It doesn't quite look like itself, but still delicious.
But I would think these temperatures are going to burn the tops.
I think
Definitely.
I think so. Someone was saying yesterday that they were hoping it was going to burn a bunch of stuff because they had a bunch of things they would like to get knocked down. Grasses that are not quite still blooming. All that sort of thing. Well, when I was a little kid, we would put our ear to the teeny tiny little record player that played this little song. So this is Gene Autry, my friends. If you've never heard of him, look him up. He's famous. We'll be right back. Thank you, Elvis. We appreciate that. It's a good way to bop in today.
Only Elvis could pull that off.
I believe that. I believe that's true.
Rock and roll.
He had a little bit. He had a little bit of everything. And I think we were the beneficiaries of a whole bunch of different influences.
Blue Hawaii came out on Thursday. The song
My
for the
heart.
movie, my favorite Elvis movie, Blue Hawaii by far.
First album I ever bought with my own money.
Yeah.
The soundtrack to Blue Hawaii.
Love it.
Swear to God.
I love Clam Bake and a few of the others, and I'm a big Elvis movie fan. Like, this is the time of year where I usually, when I get a couple days off, I'll sit down and watch 3 or 4 just mainlining.
What, not 4 diehards? Come on.
No, I've done that. Trust me. I got the T-shirt to prove it. I've got the Nakatomi Classic Christmas Party. Yeah. So yeah, I'm in on that. But
Elvis is fun.
I love Elvis movie, and I always just like the story behind Elvis too. As talented as he is, as an actor, he never got where he wanted to, and he always wanted to have the A-list movies, and he felt that what he was doing was corny and kooky, but yet he knew that was it helped sell a lot of records, obviously.
Yeah.
And the manager, the main dude,
Colonel Tom.
Colonel Tom.
There's a new production coming out about his influence and his work, and one of the things is, I don't know if I should give this away. It's kind of a spoiler if you don't know these things. He took 50% of what Elvis earned at a certain point, okay? Yeah. And the question was, why did you do that? Managers and agents and all that get 10%, and he said 50% of something is better than 50% of nothing. In other words, he felt like that the career wouldn't have gone anywhere. Elvis had different opinions about that, apparently, and that's why there was some... As is inevitable, there was a creative tension between the two.
Yeah, thank.
And I love Elvis, and it always the stories that you get behind the scenes always are way different than the reality that we see so often, and it's so glossy and and we think it's perfect in the world that they live in.
Or the other end of it. We think it's absolutely horrible and corrupt, and it's neither.
It's in the middle somewhere.
It's still just life. I mean, it's just.
But watch Clam Bake, Blue Hawaii, and that's a good one.
Is Anne Margaret in that one?
I think that's the Anne Margaret one.
Yeah.
That's why you like it.
There's so many good ones. Yeah.
She's lovely no matter what she's doing. Let's face it. This is this is a Merry Christmas morning being invaded by yellow and red ladybugs. Ah, yes. Tell us, Mark.
Yeah.
When they're in the kitchen on the wall, what do we do?
Not much. I mean, they do that. They will invade.
Yeah, they will.
They're.
What is it that they are looking for? Because deer can't.
Warmth.
And that's what I understand.
Yeah.
But is there
the ones that bite, of course, are looking for you.
That's what I was going to ask. There's obviously a couple of different types of these ladybugs. Yeah. One of them is a pain in the butt. That's the one that I seem to get. I don't get the ones that are just like, the movies are made about them, and there's a soccer team.
Little sweet ones.
Yeah. No, I get the biting
little girls.
So is there a way to prevent that in the future?
Sadly, it's only to seal up every entrance to your property house from the outside.
I thought I had done that, but apparently
they'll show you.
Yeah, they found it. It's like water.
In other places, it's like
them.
silverfish. They flatten themselves and they can get right into any space at all.
It's pretty amazing.
I'm in favor of vacuums.
Yeah, vacuuming.
That's what I use.
That's one good way to do it.
And I really think it's worked for me.
Yeah.
And I don't know that there's certainly not. You don't want to turn around and introduce something into your environment indoors that is toxic enough to kill the ladybug, because they really are harmless. And trust me,
until they bite you.
Trust me though, if you take that vacuum cleaner and empty it out into your compost pile outside, they'll burrow in there and be just fine. You're not committing any kind of horrible crime against them.
That was what I wanted to ask you. I've vacuumed up probably 82 million of them at a time.
It's a good number.
And they're annoying in the fact that you can be sitting there and then eating a sandwich, and all of a sudden they're on your sandwich. So that they don't bother me as much. But when they get inside, they are a problem.
Yeah.
What is healthy to spray inside? Or something.
Well,
you can use.
anything. Okay. I mean, pyrethrins, the same things that. But you would have to spray the walls because that's where they are.
That's what I'm saying.
In the walls.
I don't like things like Raid and all that if possible. So is there something I can use that's a little more?
If you use a pyrethrin, one of the things that people will do that are in an area where they know they can't seal everything up, and they also know that there's going to be critters in the winter, is to spray all of the entrances and around all of your windows and any of the places that they might come in. You can oftentimes deter. You can even deter tree roaches like that just by doing a perimeter spray on the outside of your house, and because there's so much that you don't know is coming in, and if you did, you'd probably move. But that's true of everywhere, So
and I have a lot of experience with chemicals, and I don't like to use any of them in the house. To be honest with you, I usually will lean toward a trap type situation.
Yeah,
I had a little sugar ant problem here a couple of weeks ago, and I found the coolest little traps.
Oh, the little things that they'll go. Yeah, I've seen that.
I mean, I literally sat there for.
I've seen that.
What felt like hours watching them march up into this thing, and
I felt like a kid again. Huh?
Yeah, it was
like
the most satisfying thing ever. I'm like, look at you guys go.
Zach is letting us know that when Colonel Tom wouldn't let Elvis play in A Star Is Born, that magnificent movie, which he would have been great in, by the way.
He would have.
That was a crush. I hate that.
That was, some of that backstory in those, and I think he had opportunities to play in bigger movies, but it was always he felt he was getting typecast.
And I think because he didn't ever have, he came in as a different thing. He didn't get a chance to do any kind of ensemble. It's not like he went to Second City and did improv for 2 years. You know what I mean? He was not as comfortable in the environment as he wanted to be. It wasn't a band.
His persona was already built before he had the opportunity to do anything different,
When you can move your hips like that on stage and everybody starts swooning and you got a voice like an angel, play a little guitar too. Yeah, I mean, he had some talent.
Good hair.
Oh, the hair.
I'm not quite old enough, but we were astounded. I can remember sitting and listening to the door where my older sister and her friends were listening to Elvis records and trying to hear what he was singing. I wasn't quite there, but just fun stuff to understand how difficult everybody's career, no matter how perfect it looks from the outside, and no matter how terrible it looks from the outside, everybody's got different challenges. We're a whole lot more alike, my friends, than we are different. when it comes down to it, if I stub my toe, you may not hurt, but you can certainly appreciate that you've stubbed your toe before. You won't necessarily hurt for me, but you got it. Scott and Raleigh suggest Bengal roach spray outside the house is very effective. That is a good product.
And that's the thing with I'm very conscientious with my animals, and when I go to, especially deer camp, when you're in such a confined place, a lot of wood, I don't want to linger. Mm-hmm, so the pyrethrum would probably be a good idea. And then on the outside, a roach or type spray I'd sealed everything up, I thought, and there was just a couple of little pinholes I think they found a way in.
Yeah,
they're going to.
That does happen. We've got a couple of stories about the allergy reactions to ladybugs, and they can be very unpleasant. Over in Forest, next to Homachita Forest, by the way. What a beautiful place to live. Good grief. Anyway, uses the peppermint essential oil around everything to take care of those things. And frankly, peppermint is, I realize that we feel like it just takes over everything, but it is one of those plants that you can grow around your entire house as a ground cover, and it does help with.
So that's what I was thinking. I needed something I could start maybe planting around that would deter.
You can do peppermint will work for that. Some of the others will too. I have to be quiet because this is my favorite Christmas song. Thank you for being here. Merry Christmas. Yes, you can vacuum them up and let them go. I have another question for you, Mark. You have a greenhouse.
Yes, ma'am.
What's the most important thing? A lot of people have greenhouses these days. They're not necessarily well. Then for me, that's true, but they're not necessarily the biggest.
Right.
And sometimes it's just a solar heat thing. Sometimes it's a little extra, but how do you manage the temperatures in yours?
Well, we have a small heater in it that it has a thermostat. It's thermostat based. And, it's basically, there's a reason they call nurseries, because it's like taking care of a baby.
It's very much that.
So
that's exactly what it is.
You have to have a routine. Like, I watch the weather incessantly. You know that. Most gardeners do.
Yeah.
But, if it's going to be mild that day, I'll turn the heater off, kick the doors open. Because in a small greenhouse, if it's sunny...
The differences are quick.
It's rapid. It's like a microwave, It's literally... So,
here, let's microwave this bougainvillea that we went to the trouble to put in here. No, don't do that. But you do have to check, don't you think, every day?
You really do. And I'm hoping that one certain person isn't listening, but a Christmas gift that I'm giving this year is a high-low thermometer.
Oh,
if you don't
talk about that. I love, love, love that.
If you don't know what a high-low thermometer is, it's something that's used in the horticulture world, every greenhouse, because you can go in and look, and it will tell you what the last 24 hours high was and the last 24 hours low was.
I know that sounds crazy, but it's important. If you're growing things in a greenhouse, you need to know what the gap is.
So because you don't want a large swing, was the same reason why you start bringing your house plants in before it gets too cold.
That's right.
You don't want them going from, 40 to 80. That's not good on a plant, because that 80, they're pushing themselves, and that, it's like coming down off of an espresso.
Yeah, you don't need that sharp edge.
It's like hot yoga.
Hot yoga.
You don't want to get it too hot in there.
Hot goat yoga.
Yeah, like
hot goat yoga.
No.
But and that's what I have a question regarding what you're saying. What is the range? And so you really need to keep up with this on a daily basis, obviously, or quicker, like half a day. Are you looking at
how
these
fast
swings?
The changes are coming? Yeah, from outside.
What is the range there that's safe in this type of time? Would it like 60s to 80s, or 50s to 70s? What are you trying to keep your greenhouse in that range?
Wouldn't you think rather have 50 to 80? At the most, because when it gets to be 80 and then drops back to 50, there's a shock, for the plants.
Right.
But I do think that the cold nights are bad. You're going to remember to go turn the heater on, though, or you're going to remember to go close everything up. But you're not necessarily going to bolt out of the house in the morning and forget to go back and open that door or turn the heater down or even read your thermometer and see what it's been doing. And then the temperature warms up to 70 in the daytime. Well, inside that greenhouse, it's going to be about 85. Everything's going to be,
And then you have, what we would call in the nursery business, an air exchange where you just want to kick everything open that you can and get fresh air in there, because if you don't, you start getting mold, mildew on your plants.
Without any, you don't get, you can't imagine how much air will move on its own until you stop it from moving.
Yes.
And at that point, literally, I don't know how to tell y'all this, there are fungi floating around in the air all the time. They would love to have a place to live.
Yes.
So we try not to encourage them too much. But it is true that if you're not checking on it every day. Now, these days, the high-low thermometers, you can look at it on your phone. You put the thing in the greenhouse. But back in the before that, it was still a revolutionary opportunity because you didn't have anybody else to show you that. There was nobody there to tell you what it had done the night before, and that made a huge difference in greenhouse growing.
And then having good culture practices in a greenhouse is important. Keeping things clean.
What do you mean, like the culture club and Boy George? What kind of culture are we talking about here?
Nothing to do with Boy George.
We want lots of chameleons.
Yeah, lots of
But
no, what do you mean with culture?
Cleanliness. If, like, say I have some specimen geraniums in there, and when I clean them, you don't want to leave what you've cleaned in the greenhouse because it's going to mold. You get it out.
In other words, don't put it in your pocket and find it in the washing machine later. But that's better than dropping it on the floor in the greenhouse.
Right. You want to keep the greenhouse floor clean from...
And hopefully you've got a small bucket in there that you can you do that grooming, and then you just take those to the compost heap, unless they have been eaten or infested or something.
What I do is kick the door open, and there's geranium blooms flying out the door. It's hilarious. You should see
I'm sure that's true. We have a little fungus pile right outside the door of the greenhouse.
Well, I have a little
but the
compost
cold weather
bin.
will keep that.
You're like a little beaver in there throwing your clippings out just as you go. Huh?
I have a good time in there, because it's small and it's tight, but you're just hanging out with your plants and it's fun. I suggest everybody get one, but it's like getting an animal for Christmas. Be ready, because there are responsibilities.
Well, that was where I was going. Where did y'all build yours, or was it a kit?
Well, it was a kit, but Mike built it and put benches in it and got the water
fancied it up.
It sounds fancy to me.
Yeah.
They don't do anything lowbrow over there.
My old greenhouse that the tree fell on was bought in pieces from a nursery, the hoop part, and the rest of it was constructed at the house. So a lot of times these things are first one and then the other. I was happy to have the opportunity when I was at the Clinton Community Nature Center we raised the money for a really beautiful cedar greenhouse that came as a kit. That's very cool.
That was a great.
It's a beautiful.
I've seen some advertised online and through Home Depot.
Those people are so nice. The people that do that as a service, that's all that they do is cedar greenhouses. They're those kind of folks are into their business, and they've been into it for generations at this point, and it's really great advice. Smart things. It's kind of like going to Johnny's Seeds. You may not be going to order any Johnny's Seeds, but if you want to grow a seed and you want some information about how to start it and what temperature and how long and all these kind of things, they've got the information there. It's just like a glossary of stuff. And that kind of encyclopedic knowledge only comes from being there, I don't know how many years, but in the case of Johnny's, but I know they've been there for most of the last century as well as this one. So that kind of experience does bring something that guessing whether it's going to work just doesn't quite live up to. It'll make you too frustrated. This is really pretty. I don't think it's rose rosette. Corinne's got this is a dark maroon stem on her really old knockout rose, like a 15-year-old knockout rose, which, as we all admit, is amazing that it lasted this long. But thank you very much. She's a good gardener. But it doesn't look like rosette to me. But on the other hand, I guess it could be the first, because that first thing, I would probably cut that branch off just in case it is.
Yes.
But they do get a little redder in the wintertime. That is true. I don't have a definitive answer to that.
They're about to get really red.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there'll be a bunch of that. I have, ever since the day of, you have to be careful what you say. I will never is a really dangerous. Or don't you ever is really dangerous.
Always and never.
Those are just
gotta be careful
dangerous words.
Or there's no way I'm doing that.
Yeah. Never say what you won't do.
Never.
Because I said, oh, no, you can't prune that knockout rose with a chainsaw. And the church near me has been doing that probably the same 15 years that Corinne's been growing that one. But the bottom of it now is about 1.5 feet across.
Wow.
Where they chopped it. I would have thought it would have just keeled over, but it's really pretty for a period of time every spring, and that's really what they're looking for. But it's just funny that we can tell you all about how to care for stuff, and at the same time, somebody's going to hide that orchid in the closet as a gift and bring it out, and it will have opened up 3 blooms for no apparent reason.
Right.
You know? That's just the kind of that's the world. That's why we love plants so much. They're not predictable. There's a certain logic to their thriftiness and to their growth, and we understand how that proceeds, and we try and help it. But even so, at times, it's dramatically different.
They will surprise you.
How I'm feeling about my St. Joseph amaryllis. It's a plant that you grow them, and they don't grow real. They're not like amaryllis that grow 2 feet a week, you know, like you would buy in a box. It's a different kind of amaryllis, but they still grow. And then one day you look out there and you're so surprised because they've literally doubled their number of leaves, and you did look, but you didn't notice because it's a surprise. And that's kind of some of the gardening that we really enjoy, is seeing all that fun stuff.
Well, this time of year, my biggest surprise and my greatest joy was going out in my Lenten rose that I completely forgot I had, have filled up the bed.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And I'm like,
do y'all know Lenten rose? If you lived somewhere else or have visited somewhere else and you've ever fallen in love with hellebores because they have so many different color flowers and they're just beautiful. It's about 1 foot tall plant. You know, it's lovely. We grow one here in the Deep South, but only one of them. There's actually a hellebore breeder up on the East Coast that is just, I was never so impressed with a stand of plants in my life. But in our case, we grow the Lenten rose version of hellebores, Helleborus orientalis, but it's a different one. So it's one of those plants that you literally cannot buy except rarely. And then you look at it, and it sits there, and then suddenly it's triple the size that it was, or in your case, it's filled the whole bed. I love that. They bloom in the winter.
It's the slowest process, and then you kind of you get so wrapped up in summer and spring, and you know all these annuals, and you know.
Sure. And there's this one. Hello. Surprise. Remember me?
It was a great relief, actually.
That's a beautiful, beautiful shot that I'm looking at now. It's a pool in the lights, and I really encourage people to bring all of those things into their decorating because it's just so much fun. I'm not saying you should put twinkly lights on everything, but I will tell you that the seed pods on cannas, when you spray them gold, go with everything. They just they'll go with anything, and you can literally use them as just an absolute architectural design out next to your swimming pool, next to your front door. You don't have to bring them in; they're not going to freeze. You don't care.
No.
So, I think all of those pieces of the puzzle make sense.
Yeah, sometime this week I'm going to have the world's largest bouquet of dried papyrus.
Well, and that's a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
You going to Egypt soon?
It's one of those things, if we were in the right place, there's a florist that would buy those.
I have not touched them.
There's so many here that...
Because, you know the tops are browning and there's new growth coming out at the bottom. So I think that's one of
They're going to get zapped.
But I'm going to leave them.
Yeah.
I think that brown might work.
I was thinking about taking off the stems of the rose here that have some buds on them because they are colored. They may go ahead and open up, and that would be such a surprise.
Wouldn't it be nice?
It's a Clotilde super, so y'all know that's my favorite one. I'm going to do. I have to say, the joys of flowers, and I'm a big shell ginger fan. Yes. I did dig mine up and take it with me, and that was a good move. But there's plants like that are so distinct. I think of Sanchisa, or Sanchisia, I guess it is. But their leaves are so bold and so bright. I think we should use them more in decorating inside of our houses at this time of year. Again, bringing some light, bringing yellow and green leaves in just to vary things up a little bit, change up the look. Why not? It makes a lot of sense to me.
And a little clear spray paint and some glitter, and you can make them.
You can do all sorts of things.
Oh, good. You still have your glitter on today?
I got a truck full of glitter. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, don't worry. He hasn't been anywhere that he needed to have the glitter, but the glitter came home with him.
It came home with me.
We were laughing at lunch or brunch or whatever it was yesterday about the glitter. One day there will be a planet that will come together in the universe from all the glitter from every different place. It'll just kind of pull itself together, and there'll be a whole planet that's just glitter, and it'll last forever.
I think that's right.
It never implode, explode, or whatever.
They'll be showing us pictures of it.
It's going to be Glitter's version of the Dust Bunny.
Well, I've heard the sock planet. I've heard that they're all going to be out there somewhere that we will eventually discover where they all went. And I prefer the idea of the glitter myself, but I understand the point of view about that. I really do. We've been talking about Garden Mama blend coffee for a while, and I'm happy to tell you that it's if you want to make somebody really happy, Lance will tell you this: just bring them a pound of coffee.
There you go.
My stock went way up with that gift. But at any rate, yes, you can order it from me, Mama on Air at yahoo.com, and people have been. We've been shipping and roasting and just having a wonderful time. But I'm happy to tell you that we have new information about those folks who have major psychiatric disorders. No, this is not a joke. This is a research study, and I take very seriously that major psychiatric disorders are a serious problem. I have worked with them and lived with them. But I can also tell you that if it's good for them, it's probably good for me too, and in this case, it's coffee. This particular study said that one of they've been measuring ways that antioxidant and the anti-inflammatory properties of coffee can work for people that have these issues. And one of the things was they've slowed the process by several years by having regular coffee intake. Well, I don't care why you drink it. You need to have some Garden Mama blend. It's a really good coffee. It won't hurt you. It will make you very happy. And that's what we're doing. Mama on Air at yahoo.com. But this is really cool. This particular group says that now you really should not go any further than 4 cups a day. I'm confident that's enough myself.
Yeah.
So
I would think so.
I hope that's enough. We've also got another citrus pest, y'all. We've been looking at the symbiotic bacterium. I love this. That's the ones that get along with the plant that they're in, their host. This whole symbiotic thing is just a marvelous, crazy bunch of stuff to study. But the Asian citric psyllid is a different problem than our greening issue that we have here. But they've got tubes inside of them that are filled with ribosomes, but it's a different one. And until we could look at it down at the cellular level, we couldn't really understand this. This is about bacterial evolution and the internal architecture of this plant. It has translation possibilities to so many other things. If we can understand this, anytime we can understand a structure we didn't know about and find out more about it, it's going to tell us something that we needed to know. And in this case, they're hoping that it will also create more targeted methods, because if you can disrupt this for the psyllid, you might be able to disrupt it for something else and keep these citrus problems from being such a problem. As much as we love our citrus, I don't think we're ever going to have like a Jerry Lewis telethon for. Well, maybe we are for plant and insect research. But I'm kind of for it. I'll stand up. I'll sing. I'll dance. Let's raise money to get rid of our citrus problems, because frankly, we've got some serious ones, really, really serious ones. Hey, Janice in New Albany. We're going to send her some info about the coffee. And we're going to be back because, gosh, our morning is flying by, but that's because we're in good company, y'all. This is the Garden Mama Show. I wonder, somebody like Ella Fitzgerald, when did she know how great she was? I hope
like 2.
Maybe 2, 3. 2. Yeah.
It's like the line in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, like, how cold do you think it's 1?
It's another good one. That's another fun one. Y'all know I'm stuck at back. Well, not stuck, but I watch all of those things, and I prefer for accompaniment to my life the black and white Christmas movies that are I do occasionally like to wonder what color things actually were, but very seldom. I actually like that
and
Christmas in Connecticut kind of vibe.
In It's a Wonderful Life, where he's at the end, Jimmy Stewart running through the street. No one could have pulled that run off like him. I mean, he's just so disheveled and happy, and everything's just all at once, the emotion. But if it were in color, I don't think it would.
I don't think it would be as effective. I really don't.
I like Bela Lugosi, If that was color flicks, I don't think that he's as scary.
No, that wouldn't work.
There's something calming about black and white movies.
Maybe that's what that is.
Yeah. You're not on sensory overload. You're paying more attention to
script,
the dialogue. Yes.
I love The Maltese Falcon.
Oh, that's a great
good
movie.
one in black and white.
Yeah, that's
Casablanca.
a great
Both those are great black and whites.
Casablanca is definitely the or Citizen Kane probably, or the quintessentials. The thing I love about Citizen Kane is it's the first time they ever filmed the ceiling, so you see the top of the wall, because they didn't used to do that.
There was no ceiling.
There was no ceiling. It's just a
boom mic.
Yeah, it's just a precipice. They didn't shoot above. But because I'm a nerd, I like to know those things. Speaking of nerdy things, today is National Horse Day. Now, we love our horses. We're very happy that they're out there. We're very thrilled that, we made them part of our world. But I got to tell you, I did not know that. Okay. American Sign Language is obviously a wonderful, wonderful thing. It allows people to talk who don't otherwise they don't use language to speak. They use their hands, or they use abbreviated gestures and movements. But long before that, there were monks that had silent retreats. There still are silent retreats, but they devised elaborate hand signals to talk to one another, like, pass the milk kind of stuff. And bread would be one thing, and milk would be another, and salt would be something else. But it got, later on, they did other words, and in fact built on those little words to do it. So, for example, if I wanted to say horse and I didn't want to use words, you make the universal symbol for an animal, which could apply to people or horses, either one, and then you grab the shock of hair, like on their mane, right, as their mane would be,
bangs.
And then you dip your nose. And that's a horse. Well, of course that's a horse. You know exactly what that is as soon as somebody would do that for you. But when we think about human beings and our ability to figure stuff out, our ability to communicate with one another, it really does come down to how do you say this or that. And you may say it one way, you may say it another way. That's why plants have so many different names sometimes, I suppose. And it's why the high-low thermometer actually has a name that's about 6 syllables long, right, for what it can do. But it is, in fact, part of the joy of it all is figuring out where the words come together that we can both understand it. It's another case where we really do have more in common than we think. No question, but that we're more alike than we are different. Oh, how pretty, pretty, pretty. That's just beautiful. This is a hellebore. This is a Linton rose. And this is how you get them. A couple of years ago in late spring, I purchased this and several discounted hellebores from a local big box store.
That's how you get them.
Because you can't find them. I'm sure, I don't know if I've told this, but I think I've told this story before. A nursery woman friend and I ordered a bunch of them because we thought that it would be something, little bitty ones, and we're going to grow them up. And it took forever to get anybody to figure out what we were having and growing and trying to sell, because people don't know them. And unless you see them in bloom, you don't necessarily know what you're getting. And it is true. We talk about what looks good right now and what looks good in the next season or the next year, And sometimes in the garden, one of the reasons we're so interested in 4-season interest is so we can have something to look at now.
Right.
As opposed to just throwing some lights over whatever it is,
That's the problem. Hellebores are blooming when everybody's hibernating.
That's right.
Nobody's going to the garden. And they really people don't know what they are.
And we prize them because it's such a rare thing.
They're expensive to grow because they sound
delicious. You got pedophores and hellebores and
some glitter.
Some glitter.
It'll be perfect. It's just perfect. That's funny. But anyway, beautiful plants. Thank you for showing those to us.
You've mentioned all these day ofs. You know what today also is?
What?
National Mississippi
You said it was
Day.
Mississippi Day.
Oh, okay.
And
All right.
It was derived from a lady named Mary Young Hampton that was the I guess the seer of the Biloxi Lighthouse.
Ah, there you go.
And they basically
very
named
cool
it
is that?
Mississippi Day because her resilience of staying in the lighthouse during storms to make sure everybody got to shore safely.
Yeah. Wow. Talk about a hard
Stumbled
job.
across that one.
Gotta
love
like to
that.
read.
You would, yes. Or knit or something.
Yeah, exactly. It's something that you can do by yourself.
Crochet.
Something in there. Oh, by the way, it's not going too well. Did I announce this already? I'm trying to reteach myself how to crochet a hat.
Uh-oh.
It's one of the things I'm trying to relearn. When you have trauma in your life, it takes a long time. If you're lucky enough, you get a chance to try and rebuild some of your skills. And in this case, and I got the middle done, but the one before got bigger and I couldn't get the stitch counts and stuff right, and I've gotten it going again. So those of you who crochet or sew or frankly do jigsaw puzzles will know what I'm talking about. When it's you got to get the pieces to be where they're supposed to be, not where you think they might be. You have to actually sew them correctly. And the deer do not eat hellebores. That's another note.
They
from
do
her.
not. No.
Thank you. That's probably why we should try. That's probably how we should try and sell them. Is that the deer won't eat them?
The deer won't eat them. Definitely.
It's possible. It's possible. Now, that's of course. I can't say that no deer would eat them, but most won't. I hesitate to say that, the deer that
It's always
the
dangerous.
giant buck at the back end of Lance's property might go in there and eat the hellebores. But
I think he's pretty. His mind isn't right now. He's chasing. When they walk up 10 feet from your dogs that are eyeballing them, and they look at them like, "Hey, I don't think you're what
You're
I'm
not as
smelling."
cute as I was hoping.
I think you're not the one I'm chasing. You have a full conversation with a 10-point in your backyard, and then
that's
he goes,
true.
"All right,
That's true.
I'm going to run over here for a minute."
That's funny,
I think
though.
he's eating about everything.
He's obviously very happy to be there.
he was smiling. I could see teeth on him.
I want to see that picture so badly.
I do.
I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to give y'all the best. This is the most universal, couldn't be easier to do gift idea. Here it is. Go to the garden center and buy a gift certificate. Spend more money than you can imagine that this other person is going to like. In other words, if you're a $30 gift giver, spend $50. If you're a $100 gift giver, spend $2. But get a gift certificate for the nursery or a gift card, whatever their thing is that they have at this moment in time. Because not only can people shop now for themselves, but it's another case where you know they're going to get what they want, and you thought enough of them as a gardener to provide this for them. We all know, we know all too well. You got to go to the grocery store, you got to pick up the clothes at the dry cleaner, you got to get 3 things for the kids, and the dog needs food. You think you're going to use any of your money in your pocket on your garden? No, you're not. But if you've got a card that takes only at the garden center, surprise, you'll find a way to get there.
Oh, yeah, you'll go.
And not only is it good for you, it's great for the garden center, too, of course, because they would love for you to come and be their customer. So that's another opportunity that puts one person in, and then it brings another person in.
Well, gardening.
One of the great things about the garden centers, too, is they've gotten pretty excellent at having the freezers with a lot of local produce that's been frozen.
There's a lot of things
there's a lot
going
of things you can do other than just getting plants. You can find some food that's been locally grown.
Yep, there's
local
a lot
farmers.
of things.
I've got a freezer.
A lot of interest. Sometimes
That's
it's
great
art.
stuff.
Sometimes, there's
it's
just so
amazing,
many things.
It's like when you'd go to the pharmacy when you were heading to a Christmas party and you'd have to get that little gift you probably that nobody wants. Well, you can go to the garden center and get something people want. I mean, that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, you're going to be my secret Santa. It's not going to come from the pharmacy. It's going to come from the garden
And
center.
my uncle, and I love my
That's
uncle. My uncle, though, he would, always go on Christmas Eve. We would have our Christmas at our Aunt Grace over here, close to Colonial Heights. And so it was a family deal. We'd always do that on Christmas Eve, and then the next day everybody would come to our house. But my uncle was always notorious about stopping through the pharmacy on Old Canton there. It was the CVS or Walgreens. He'd get the coins that were in the little plastic sheet and a couple other things. He's like, man, he was killing it, he thought.
Oh, sure. And
we knew where he'd been.
And because the thought is actually the thing.
Oh, it was great. I still have those
It's lovely that he even thought about it, and that he went and acted upon it is particularly lovely.
But it was always the unique.
That's how you end up with 200 Pez dispensers.
Right.
Oh my gosh!
That's how.
I got Sylvester in my bag.
Yeah.
Somebody loves all of that. So should I be fertilizing my hellebores now? That's what Corinne is asking. I'm not going to do that today.
I would not. No, probably not.
When they finish blooming,
Yeah, when they finish.
Or like so many other things, if yours didn't bloom when they should have finished blooming. In this case, it'd be like late January because they bloom for weeks and weeks and weeks. The other great thing about them. That's a beautiful cabbage, by the way, in the our kale plant.
Delicious.
Yeah, in the SuperTalk.tv today.
Boy, that was some sausage.
The way it's sitting right now, it's bigger than either me or Mark. So if you're looking at the screen right now, we have suddenly become dwarfed, and that's kind of cool. That's interesting.
Mark's gotten really good with his picks. I'll give him credit, and some of the depth, getting down and seeing the whole field of stuff, and I think you've done a really good job with that, and I greatly appreciate your hard work in getting those images to us weekly, because you do, man. You're out and about. You see a lot of really interesting things.
And we have a wonderful archive going, and we're going to print a calendar, and we'll be happy to tell you about it after we do.
We do need a calendar. Yeah. I go out of my way to get plant photos. I have done some, really crazy things.
I've been known to, lie on the ground and shoot up into the angel trumpet and that kind of stuff. I think another perspective is always fun. I had an editor who was at one point the photo editor for a famous seed catalog that I won't mention, Park. But he said that you'd be amazed how many stock photos look exactly that you would think that they were taken by the same person in the same environment. And it's just puts you to sleep, more. You're trying to get pictures that are going to intrigue people and are going to make it more interesting for them. And you want that other perspective sometimes. That's what Baker Creek does so well in their catalog, actually. And frankly, I haven't. Park Online is the only place I've seen them recently, and their pictures are beautiful. But when the Baker Creek people send out their catalogs, that's some hard work to get that done and get that many different perspectives.
Well, and the reality of it is, people will look at a garden and they see the garden as a whole. But challenge yourself. Take a second. Go look closely at each individual different flower. And notice.
See what you got. Exactly. See what you got.
You're racing down Lakeland Drive and you see a big swath of pansies. But, of course, you can't do that on Lakeland Drive. You'll get run over. But in your own garden, pay close attention, because sometimes it's the individual flower.
Well,
that's
and
you
don't even necessarily know what it is that's making your view.
Right.
It could be solids and faced pansies mixed together, or it could be the different colors that you're seeing. If you're not looking at the individuals, you don't know how to in turn construct that in your own garden or how to design that for yourself.
Which something kind of funny when you pick up, you bring somebody a stem of flowers. They're forced to see that flower.
Exactly.
But it's in mass.
The hellebore foliage looks great all year. Also, it does. It's an astounding plant that we don't grow enough of. Next week we'll talk about spigula and why we should grow more of that. But anyway, it's not that we're not restricted to native plants, but we would like to fill in the gaps in the year when there are things that are not necessarily obvious. And sometimes that's really when you go to somebody's garden, it's like going into someone's kitchen and they actually have a mandolin with the appropriate safety equipment that looks like they actually use it. Okay, that's different from the mandolin hanging on the wall that's like decorative that they've never moved and never used. It's a different thing. And in our gardens we see those same kinds of differences. I have as we speak right now, I have spiderwort that are trying to take over a space. And I don't know which one it is, so I don't know which one to encourage. I don't know if it's old blue or if it's the pink that I like or, one of the really pale blues that I'm crazy about. I don't know. It's a fight. And I wish I could tell you I could tell those canes apart, but it's kind of like the Ruellia that we were talking about, the Mexican petunias. They just get caney. They all kind of look the same.
Yeah.
So we're going to admire the Lenten roses today. That's more fun. Oh, another fun group. Here we go. Trans-Siberians, y'all.
Oh, yes.
This is so beautiful. Come on, get up. Let's dance. We'll be right back.
If there's no place, if it starts falling
We are making fun, but we are not making fun. If I had a singing pig, I think he would sound like this.
I would hope so.
I did not see that coming.
You didn't see that one?
No.
Oh,
I
yeah.
did not see that
This
coming.
is a classic.
She knows that it's not Christmas season to
We
me
have
until
to-
you play Porky Pig and Blue Christmas. That's the first one you got to throw out. Then your Christmas is charmed.
The howling cats after that. You know, it's just things that will cause people to say, why are you listening to that?
Alvin and the
Redneck
Chipmunks.
Christmas is really good too. The 12 Days of Redneck Christmas, the mag wheels and the banjo strings, and I play that one once a week.
I will have to say that ever since Grandma got run over by that reindeer, I have been kind of intrigued by these songs. I'll give you.
There's some good ones. I mean, there's some good like Cajun ones, and there's
Some of
redneck
that box
ones
of stuff that I gave to you has way too much in it. That I inherited all of that.
Don't forget about Alvin and the Chipmunks.
Alvin and the Chipmunks. Oh my
man.
goodness.
Classic.
That was my generation.
You know what?
Right there.
Well, and I'll tell you this. Somebody made a joke about this, something I was watching the other night, and I do believe it's true. If this was now and Alvin and the Chipmunks was just becoming a hot thing, they would be holograms and we would all have to go to their concerts.
There you go.
Now, come on. You know it's true. You know it's true. They'd be leading a parade someplace. But, meanwhile, we have had so much fun this morning. Next week we will all be back in our appropriate, true
in
spaces.
our assigned seats.
Our assigned seats. But every now and then we get a chance to all be here together in the same physical place. We're in the same mental place when we're far apart. But it is fun to have a chance to, see the lights around Mark's neck and to see how Lance is celebrating the holidays in there. This by the way, y'all. We all know that everybody loves Lance. Lance's studio is starting to be awash in Christmas gifts.
It is.
So y'all
I got the greatest. I have to at least go out on a limb here and say the coolest gift that I've ever received at Christmas.
No, it's not that one.
The Christmas T-shirt that I just got that says "On board with the Lord."
Yep.
And and Jesus is riding a skateboard.
Yes.
And he's
And
doing like
is
an
with,
ollie
it is with
grind.
great
I love
love.
it.
It is with great love.
Tell them where you got it too, because it's official.
It's actually from the merch store at St. Louis Cathedral.
Oh, I'm gonna.
That's awesome.
We're trying to get everybody into a lighter-hearted mood.
I love it.
For
Thank you
this
so
time
much.
Of year. But there's so many things that we can do for one another. A friend offered to make me coffee. Well, since I make my own coffee most of the time, that's pretty cool. But I have to say, there's people that are doing all kinds of lovely things. Y'all know I haven't bought a meal since I got here. Everybody, y'all, I think y'all miss me when I'm not around. That's good to know.
Oh,
That's
I mean,
good.
you don't have to be in New Orleans to be missed.
You're so sweet. But the good news is it's not that far down the road. And y'all will figure out sooner or later that the road does, in fact, go in both directions. So I have had a chance to get in touch with some gardeners that I have known before. I've met some new gardeners. But I'm also really tickled at the number of people. For example, I have a couple of correspondents from what I call the northern tier of Mississippi, the part where it's actually almost Memphis, but not quite. And they'll write to me now and ask me what the differences are on a given day between their plants and my plants. So you can always get in touch with me, mamaonair@yahoo.com. There's some things that we cannot grow all the way through our deep south area as successfully as we can in one or two particular spots. The Japanese maple is the perfect example today because it won't color up until you get that really quick change cold temperature thing, and it does a beautiful job then. But we've got so many other things. I love that your plant that you've got a lettuce field. You instead of having another bed full of pansies, you're growing lettuce into just like you would grow any other kind of annual. I remember once planting lettuce, parsley, and the people thought I was crazy. But I think now that would be a very hip trend.
Absolutely.
I've always been a little crazy.
Well, I suddenly realized I was just overthinking it, and I had actually gone in. I started collecting my seeds and stuff, and I looked down, and there's all these cool lettuce
You got
seeds.
so many of them, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like,
let's
you
plant
know what?
them. Yeah,
And it was
let's plant
about to
them.
rain. I just went out
And that is one of the things, y'all. We talk all the time about sowing things in carefully in rows so that you don't have to come back and thin them and all this. Lettuce you can actually sow from your hand because as soon as it pops up, it's also one of those things that you sow on top of the soil.
Right.
So you can see where you have sowed it and rake it around a little bit if you have to, but you can also see when it comes up, and if they're too close together, you just take those out and eat them first. You know?
So you, I, Lance, and all the listeners are the only people I did that. So in about 3 weeks, when that thing explodes, everybody's
your
gonna
neighbors
be
will
so
be,
shocked.
what is that?
What just happened?
What did he do for New Year's? We need to.
Yeah.
We will begin thinking about New Year's next week.
Next week.
And the last weekend of the year, Ken Hackman will be in. So those of you, the birder folks who are always on me to tell me when he's coming back. He's coming back at the end of the year. The good news is, the smarter you are, the more fun you are on radio. And he is so smart. And the whole notion, I've learned so much about birds just from listening to Ken over the years. You know, I can't really see. I can tell the difference between a bird that is red and a bird that is blue, but I'm not really good at specific features because I just can't see that well. And he's able to describe all those things in such great detail. I love that. I love that capacity. It's a really talented one. Our friend Buddy, the handyman coming in here after us this morning, he can look at something and tell you basically when it was made and what it was made from and how it is. And there's things that you don't know unless you have the experience to see all of that. So that's kind of fun.
And the price is right. You know, you're asking, what does that cost?
Yeah, he will. He will ask that all the time. I have a friend, a garden writer friend over in Georgia, Walter Reeves, whose famous expression is, "So that's a great idea. How you gonna monetize that?" You know, when it comes to plants, particularly because we love our plants, but not everybody wants 47 rhubarbs. You know, and somebody else might want all of those, but not something else. So how are you going to make that that classic thing that I really hope everybody can figure out? How are you going to put your feet under you? You know, what are you going to do?
Right.
Well, that kind of leads into the
your
question
work?
we just had from Miss Stephanie Pickens. She said, we just recently moved to a new place that is just pasture land, and she's wanting a garden spot with raised bed gardens and in-the-ground gardening as well. What would be the best way to start this off?
Oh, well, that's a great question, and there's actually a great answer to it. Excuse me, I'll answer first, and then I'll let Mark. I want you to find a place that's sunny and has access to water, and that is hopefully uphill from your house, if there's a slope. Because you want the water to run away from the garden, you don't want it to run necessarily into your street or into your house. So you'd like a little bit of an elevation. And when you do a raised bed garden, of course, you have all the control over that. I will also tell you that the one and only Joe Lampel, Lampl, that's how his name is pronounced. You can look him up. He has just redone his raised bed gardens, and it's a great piece. So if you want to hear from somebody that he would tell you made all the mistakes in the first place,
right.
And now he's really not prone to mistakes at all. But how to improve things, how to make a really good bed structure, and how to do that, he's a good opportunity for that too. What do you think, Mark? You've just redone yours.
Yeah, I'm working on it. As far as your in-ground bed, soil prep. Start with your soil prep. If you could get it broke up now and possibly plant a cover crop there to get ready for spring.
Yep. Really smart.
Ryegrass.
Alfalfa, could be any of that.
Anything. You turnip greens as far as that goes. That's pretty easy to grow. But start doing some soil prep and do some research. Plan. There's a great book called The Square Foot Gardener.
Oh, good old Mel Bartholomew. That's a good one.
It is a great
We got to get out of here, but we got so much to talk about. We'll be back in January all together and have us a good time. Y'all stick around. Merry Christmas.
Mississippi Media.